At the beginning, many social enterprises focus only on local markets. That's okay in the early years. This is where they know their customers best, and their operation can be carried out with less cost. However, after initial successes, social entrepreneurs would like to increase their market share and profitability. Entering into foreign markets can be a good option, but many social enterprises feel that this step is too difficult and too costly. The following training material provides help planning and implementing entry into foreign markets, and in this way increasing long-term sustainability of the business. The objectives of this course are to help you understand how and why companies grow internationally, to see which strategies can be used to grow internationally, to provide a critical approach to risks and mitigation techniques before going international. Recall the definition of marketing by Philip Kotler, author of the most popular book about marketing. Marketing is a societal process by which individuals or groups obtain what they need or want through creating, offering, and freely exchanging products or services of value with others. So what is international marketing? It's the process of planning and conducting transactions across national borders to create exchanges that satisfy the objectives of individuals and organizations. Here are the most important questions we need to answer when planning international marketing. How will my idea, good, or service fit into the international market? Is there a demand for it? Should I obtain my supplies domestically or from abroad? Looking inside, is there a specific knowledge or technology that my company can use to develop something new? Be aware of the gap between the compelling value proposition and the actual demand. What marketing adjustments are or will be necessary, for example the 4 Ps? And what threats from global competition should I expect? How should I enter the global market? Let's see the most common motives to go international. Many different kinds of people can be successful as an entrepreneur, but based on literature, research, and common sense, here are some typical entrepreneurial characteristics. They are able to take risks and try out new and uncertain products, services, and markets. They're able to see new combinations and take action to develop new combinations. They are logical thinkers. They have the ability to know the right time to act. They may have a supportive childhood or personal environment. They are often well educated. The age of the managers also matters. They have an international orientation, and they have a certain amount of life and professional experience. They've probably traveled or spent time abroad. They have good language skills. They are innovative and creative. They are flexible. And they have commitment, persistence, and risk perception. What are the typical motives behind going into international markets? These are the list of the internal proactive reasons: profit and growth goals or advantages, a unique product, a technical advantage, exclusive information. There can be tax benefits, economies of scale. There may be changes internally, like an enlightened management, new management, or some other significant internal event. Foreign market opportunities may present themselves, or there may be new market information. These are the external reactive reasons to enter into international markets. There may be competitive pressure, overproduction, decreasing domestic sales or saturated domestic sales. There may be unsolicited foreign orders, or proximity to international customers or a close psychological distance. There may be a good network of suppliers or distributors, or other external agents of change like demand, competitors, distributors, banks, chambers of commerce, export agents, or government activities. What are the key points for success? External determinants are the cost of raw material, access to external sources of finance, a distribution system, and the proximity of export markets. Internal determinants are company size, the products, technology, and management. What are the main strategies an enterprise can follow for entering into foreign markets? Identifying the right strategy is closely correlated with the question of scaling. The solution lies in the answer to the question, where to grow. The first question is, what should the company consider when choosing the right location? For that answer, one can evaluate what internal resources does the company have, and where does it have the opportunity to exploit the company's internal resources. The second question is, where can the company exploit its specific ownership advantage, whether it can create a monopolistic advantage over others, or can create entry barriers for others. The third question is, what value does a market offer to the company if it makes an entry there? Let's study the Uppsala model for internationalization to understand better the processes and areas of decisions. The key assumptions of the model are the following. Firms gain experience in the domestic market before moving into foreign markets. Foreign operations start in culturally and/or geographically close countries and move gradually to more distant countries. Firms tend to enter markets in successively greater psychological distance, and in most cases, greater geographical distance. Psychological distance. These are the sum of the factors that prevent the flow of information from and to the market. These factors may be differences in language, education, business practice, culture, and industrial development. Foreign operations start with traditional export activities and move forward to more demanding operation modes, like sales subsidiaries, etc., both at the company level and the target country level. The chart shows how increasing market commitment and geographic diversification will lead to increasing internationalization. Increasing market commitment goes through 4 stages. Sporadic export, independent sales representatives, foreign sales subsidiary, and finally, when part or all of the production is happening in a foreign country or countries. Of course, the latter two require direct foreign investment. While in the first 2 stages, there is low control of the business in parallel with low risk and low responsibility. In the last 2 stages, there is significantly more control in parallel with high risk and low flexibility. During the internationalization process, the business goes through 6 stages. Stage 1. Uninterested firms. When management is not interested in exporting and would not even fill an unsolicited export order. Stage 2 is a partially interested company. Unsolicited orders or other stimuli continue. Management responds, but makes no effort to explore the feasibility of export. Stage 3. Exploratory exporter, where management already actively explores the feasibility of exporting. Stage 4. Experimental exporter. The firm exports on an experimental basis to psychologically close countries. Stage 5. Export evaluation. The firm is an experienced exporter and adjusts exports optimally to changing exchange rates and tariffs. Stage 6. Export adaptation, where management explores the feasibility of exporting to additional countries that are psychologically further away. On this slide, you can see the market entry alternatives. It shows how increasing the control on foreign market presence can be seen as depending on the market entry types. The first 2 alternatives are based on home-based productions, and the others relate to production alternatives abroad. Networking is a key element of business success. This is true for internationalization as well. Here are the relevant advantages. You can enable access to complementary assets, reduce psychological barriers, reduce liabilities of foreignness or unfamiliarity, reduce uncertainty in the market, enable locating opportunities, and gain access to funding. This is the evolution of business relationships. Any failure to get to a higher stage leads back to the starting point. The following slides introduce the characteristics of different types of internationalization. Agents are independent salespeople who represent, on a long-term basis, a number of manufacturers whose products complement one another but are not competitive. We can choose them when customers require personal selling, but the market is not large enough to support a full-time company sales personnel, or gross margins are not large enough to support the cost of a full-time company sales personnel, but personal selling is required. Or the manufacturer is moving into new markets and wishes to penetrate these markets more quickly by using already established rep contacts. The manufacturer is new and does not have full-time sales personnel, but customers require personal selling. The distributor is an independently owned and operated sales organization who takes title of the product, keeps them in their inventory, and provides them for delivery and credit, and may provide after-sales service. We can choose this solution when the product is relatively standardized. The unit value of the product is low. The order size is small. Gross margin is low. Customer purchasing effort is low. When frequent purchases are made by customers, or where the market is decentralized and scattered, or where customers require short lead times for delivery. Direct channels are an option in the following situations: when gross margin is high, the purchase is significant, the product is technically complex, and the buyer needs both pre- and after-sales service. The order size is large, product customization is required, or when the product is subject to rapid technical change. This slide shows typical channel configurations. The following part of the material deals with the different barriers, risks, and mitigation techniques when conducting business in foreign markets. Barriers and risks can be divided into two groups. We have to identify internal and external risks. Here are some of the most important internal barriers, which are connected to the weakness of the firm. Insufficient finances to cover the cost of internationalization. Insufficient knowledge needed to design and implement the process. No motivation to learn them. No commitment. Management focus on local markets. Lack of production capacity needed to enter the foreign market. Lack of foreign market connections, channels, or distributors. The main areas of external risk can be categorized as commercial, financial, and political. Besides that, there can be legal, linguistic, and cultural risks as well. The following slides go through the different forms of risk and the possible responses or mitigation techniques. Carefully examine each case where it's relevant to your case and your company. This slide summarizes the process of risk management. Don't forget that after risk mitigation, there is always a follow-up stage to learn the necessary lessons to avoid the problem occurring again.